Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
This is the nightly morning show for August 30th, 2021. We get Nerdy Nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to another nightly morning show. This time on a date that apparently confused Clarus.
Well, you just, don't usually, say the date.
Cool.
So I was like, oh, okay, alright. It's not a bad thing, I just was confused for a moment.
Cool.
We're working on getting our chatbot booted up, so...
It's booted.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. You'll be able to hype in chat momentarily.
So, yeah, I feel like I need to, distinguish them, right? I feel like, I don't know, I thought that was a good intro.
No, it was great. It was great. I just was like, oh, alright.
I'm willing to bet that's not the first time I've said the date in the intro. We've done 130 of these. There's no way that's the first time I've said the date in the intro.
I think in the, beginning, actual intro. You definitely talked about the date, after the theme song.
I think last week I might have said the date in the intro.
No.
I think last week I might have done it. Should I pull it up live?
No, let chat do it.
Alright, chat, if someone could go watch last week's morning show and let us know if I said the date in the intro, that would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. But, as always, let's start the nightly morning show the way we always do. I ask the question, how you doing, Clarus?
I am good. What?
Cool. Well, I guess we'll move on to something else then.
I'm sorry. I thought that was funny. Thank you, Rebel. Thank you, Rebel, for backing me up. Yeah, I'm good. I, did my first, venture into, EVA foam cosplay last night. And, it went really well, and I'm really happy about it. Why are you laughing at me?
No, I'm not. I'm laughing.
Okay.
You thought you were being funny, and I'm laughing. Why are you weirded out? What is this energy that you brought to the studio this morning?
I can't try to be funny and then be surprised when people laugh. Actually, I can. That happens frequently. I'm like, oh, it worked. Cool.
Jesus Christ.
How you doing?
I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hot, and I'm outside a lot for work. At the restaurant I'm waiting tables at, and it's the heat is so draining.
It's spicy out there.
It's because I'm just muggy for hours. Mm-hmm. And the money's great and it's worth it. And we're super stable, which is nice because of it. But holy crap, it is hot. And I'm fighting. I feel like I'm actively fighting off heat stroke.
That's fun.
And so, it's been a weird transition to that. But, the weather's going to change soon. And hopefully the humidity will just go down a little bit, because that has not been my favorite part of work.
Yeah.
And, I'm hoping to just get back to streaming more, because I barely streamed in August. Mm-hmm. August was a weird month for us. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just excited to get back into the Nerdy Lock and, finally beat Heart Gold.
Yeah. You're going to crush it. Crush it.
I totally did say the date last week.
In the intro? I don't know. I believe Rebel. Rebel backed me up there.
I mean, I can just pull up last week's morning show.
Fine.
I can do it live.
No, that's fine. Let's just get into the news.
All right, folks. The story that everyone seems most interested... actually, you know what? Before we get into anything else, I do want to do this first. Folks, unfortunately, this week we do have to share the news that Ed Asner has passed away at the age of 91. Ed Asner is a titan and legend of TV, film, and particularly voice acting. I think that's where a lot of people from my generation first heard his voice, even though at a young age I didn't know that it was Ed Asner. But Ed Asner was former president of SAG-AFTRA, a union that I'm a member of. He's probably best remembered by some of the older generations for his role on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And is probably best known to a younger generation as the voice of Carl Lumbly on the movie Up. Mm-hmm. He is the old man in Up. And Asner, it's impossible to name everything the man did in his career. He had a long long storied career, won multiple Golden Globes, won multiple Primetime Emmys, but also voiced a lot of characters in nerdy things. This is a nerd news show, so I wanted to just point out a couple of those. He was a voice on the original Batman the Animated Series. He played Daggett. I think it was Ralph Daggett. He was a voice in the original Superman animated series. He voiced Granny Goodness and went on to voice Granny Goodness through multiple Superman and Justice League projects throughout the 90s and early 2000s. He was also, where I will never be able to forget him from, is the voice of J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man cartoon that ran from, I think from 94 to 96, if I'm getting those dates right on the top of my head. That was my first Spider-Man cartoon. That was kind of what I was raised on. And I will never forget what that J. Jonah Jameson sounds like. I will never be able to forget the voice of Ed Asner. And, you know, that barely scratches the surface on the things that this man did. He was in multiple projects. Most recently, I think a lot of people saw him in Cobra Kai. He was in a few episodes of Cobra Kai. He was also Santa. That is true. Fabimus is correct. He was also Santa in Elf.
The timeless classic.
Truly. Like,
Truly.
the last... I will call Elf like the most recent Christmas classic. Yeah. In my opinion. What was that, 2004?
Yeah, because that was after The Grinch.
Yes. Yeah. Well, was it? I think it was.
I believe it was, but I think they were like pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, Ed Asner, I wanted to say a big remembrance to him. You know, an inspirational figure in comedy, in TV, in movies, in voiceover, in so many ways. And, you know, ran the union for a bit, which, you know, I will always have immense respect for, because it's not an easy union to be at the head of.
Yes, not an easy job.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Ed Asner performance? It's hard to top Santa in Elf.
Yeah, I mean, like, and Elf is just so good. But, like, the movie Up is just so beautiful.
Yeah. And his voice, I mean, his voice acting in that is just...
is, like, 10 out of 10. You know, we have a lot of media to remember him by. And he lived a long, very, very full life.
Yeah, it's... I don't mean this to be callous in any way. And I hope it doesn't come across that way. But it's not... If I knew him, this would be a very sad moment. And for his friends and family, I express nothing but the deepest sympathies for your loss. But there's also, like, when your life is that huge, it's just a little bit less sad from an outside perspective. Because I'm like, God damn it, dude, you got to live. Like, can you imagine the things that you got to
Ed
Asner was born in, like, 1929, was a teenager during the Second World War. Like, just the amount of life and all of the accomplishments, just being lauded for a 6 or 7 decade long career where you were beloved in every single one of those decades is just, you know, it's such an incredible life. Yeah. And I just, you know, I wanted to acknowledge his passing at the beginning of the show here because, Yeah,
and thank you for leaving us with so much to remember you by.
Yeah, all the laughs. Truly. Yeah. Truly. God, the scene in the Santa scene in Central Park where he's just kind of grumpy with the sleigh is one of the funniest Santa moments.
Oh, yeah.
But with that news imparted upon you, let's move on to something else here. Because we had some news that we were talking about before the show started, and I know that people are very interested to hear about this, but there is apparently a new PS5 on the market, which we talked about glibly last week. Right at the end of the show last week, we threw in that there is a new PS5, and that it's 300 grams lighter, and the only difference is there's a different screw on the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. Apparently, now that it's been out for a minute, and people have been able to tear it apart, see what it looks like inside.
Why tear it apart? Just give it to us.
No, like teardowns are a thing.
I know, but it just...
They do it, they put it back together. They don't break it.
I know.
The new PS5, this comes from a video on YouTube by YouTuber Austin Evans, who got hold of one of the new consoles from Japan, and while taking it apart, found out that the heatsink is significantly smaller. and that the heat coming off of the device while it is in performance is about 3 degrees hotter.
Oof.
It also looks like some of the copper inside the system has been traded out for aluminum, and so there's an obvious reason why it's getting hotter, right? The significantly smaller heatsink is a big deal. I think temperatures and game performance. I think in the short term, this isn't a big deal. The real question here is going to be, what does this do long term for the device?
Well,
and how is the longevity of the system inside affected by the smaller heatsink and the higher temperatures?
Yeah, you will have to replace your device, your console, your $700 console.
Mm-hmm. Canadian, 700 Canadian.
Right, sorry. Yeah. You will have to replace it sooner. I mean, a lot of us already know that heat is not good for chips and for the internals of any kind of computer, which this is. Is that how they saved on, like, the weight of it?
Well, apparently, the PS5 console is now a profitable console. So, by getting whatever cost-saving measures they did to get it down to this new model at MSRP makes them a little bit of money. Whereas the old PS5, they were selling at a loss.
What?
Yeah, so up until this model, every single PS5 they sold cost them more to make than they were making on it, right? Because the goal is just to get as many people to buy the console as possible so that they can make money on the software and on the games.
Okay.
And so this is common in every console generation. New consoles cost a lot of money to design, develop, and to manufacture. And so the initial launch of a console is not a very profitable time for a company. It's actually, it costs a lot of money to get the console out there. It's not until after you've sold all those consoles and you start to get into the second and third runs of those consoles that you start to become profitable and that you get a return on your investment. The PS5 is now starting to see a return on its investment, and by cost saving the PS5 down to this new model, they will be profitable on each device they sell, instead of losing money and waiting for people to buy 5 or 6 games before it offsets.
Damn.
Yeah. There is already some conversation going on online that this isn't a big deal. That the 3 degree difference, that's 3 degrees Celsius, by the way, which is about 9 degrees Fahrenheit. That the 3 to 5 degree Celsius difference may not actually get the temperature high enough to be a drastic change in the longevity of the device. But the truth is that only time is going to tell, and that we're not really going to know until this has been around for a while.
Yeah.
Noxonetic, thank you for that, Biddy. Of all the console exclusives to poach Microsoft, the Red Ring of Death isn't my first choice. Yes, True Salt King. The thing is, this isn't something that PlayStation is poaching from Microsoft. The PlayStation 2... One of the PlayStation 2s had an overheating issue, and the PlayStation 3 and 4 have both had overheating issues.
And I think, like, the Slim did as well.
The PS2 Slim, that's the one.
Yeah,
the PS2 Slim had an overheating issue, and the PS3 and PS4 have both been known to overheat. And
something to think about as well is this may not affect the people who can easily afford a PlayStation 5, as well as a lovely big home with air conditioning and big open spaces to keep that console cool. But, the people who put together their savings to get this console, who may not have AC at all, or might have, like, a crowded space, like, this is going to potentially affect them more, and it might be so minimal that it doesn't make a difference.
I agree
but it's definitely going to, I don't know, this is going to be talked about, I'm sure, for a while people run testing and see how much the heat actually wears down the internals. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to point out, there is a little bit of chat going on around what I said, yes. A 3 degrees Celsius difference is not 9 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 3 to 5 degrees Celsius is 6 to 9 degrees Fahrenheit. I misspoke there. I wasn't saying 3 to 9. I was saying, yeah. And Rockmage has already corrected me. the one thing that people are saying, and I do want to point this out because this might not all be doom and gloom, is that the temperatures that the YouTuber recorded were the temperatures leaving the device, and the new PlayStation 5 also comes with a more robust fan system that appears to be quieter. And there was one thing I was watching earlier today on YouTube saying that because of the more robust fan, there might it's going to take some time for people to actually get some like heating probes inside the system to see if the temperature inside is different, because it is possible that the hotter air coming out is just that the heat sink is doing less, but the fan is moving the air out faster, and so there isn't a problem with the chip.
That's fair.
The other thing to note about this is that there will be a difference here depending on load, right? And so someone using their PS5, if you play 10 hours of your PS5 a day, this is probably going to be a bigger deal than, I think what Sony is banking on is that the vast majority of these PS5s are not going to be turned on every day.
No.
And the vast majority of these PS5s are not going to be turned on for more than a few hours every day, right? Like, I think that at the end of the life cycle of whatever this new PS5 is, it's going to be a conversation of what kind of gamer you were. The same way that it was with a lot of past systems, except the Xbox, which would ring of death on you whenever.
Just when I felt like.
Just whenever.
It's like, we're feeling salty today, and you're like, okay.
I felt very lucky in that I owned 4 Xbox 360s throughout the life cycle of the Xbox 360, and only one of them ring of death on me.
Why did you have 4?
Because I would sell them when I would go on tour.
Oh,
and then I would like buy a used one when I came back to New York.
Oh, okay.
Because I just like it.
I was like, what were you doing to your devices?
No. I would literally sell them. Okay. But in that time, I only had 1 ring of death on me.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Febu Moose says their poor Switch is still limping along. Hey, I have a first generation Switch as well, and it is still functional. Yeah. Well, I probably have second generation, honestly.
Oh, did you not get it right away?
Do you know how hard it was to get a Switch when it came out?
No.
That was hard. I think I got mine a year after it came out, because I was walking in a Walmart on top of a mountain in Colorado, literally, and they had 1 Switch left, and I had been looking for it forever, and I was like, that's all the money.
Now.
It was all the money in my bank account, and I wasn't getting paid for like a few days, and I was like, there's food in the fridge. I was on contract, so like I knew I had a paycheck that I was owed, but I was like, there's food in the fridge. I can spend all of my money on this, and
I'll survive.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like we would do that with the PlayStation 5 though, if we found one.
All right. Well, I don't know what else to say about this. I hope that this ends up being good news, or not good news, but I hope that this ends up being kind of like less news than it feels like right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, you know, when you say that the fan is actually better, I think that the risk of this being detrimental is much lower. So that makes me feel better.
It's really going to depend on whether or not, it's really going to depend on what the internal temperatures look like.
Yeah.
Once some probably YouTubers who have that kind of device, maybe a Linus Tech Tips, will throw us a video about this. And show us what those internal temperatures are sitting like. Because if the internal temperatures are the exact same, and there's just more heat being vented out by the fans, ultimately this is kind of a non-issue.
Doesn't really matter, yeah.
Because how much heat is coming out of the system isn't as important as how hot the air sitting inside the system is, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but interesting story. Not something I would expect to come from a YouTuber. The kind of thing that you would kind of think that the one weird thing about this story I want to throw at the end here is Sony is selling these PS5s and didn't tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
And so you can pay the exact same amount thinking that you are getting a PS5 that you've seen reviews for, and it's not that PS5.
Yeah.
And the screw's different, and that's kind of like the thing that everyone was talking about, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like they were hiding it.
Just a tad.
But
just a little bit.
Blind Steer says we have a surprisingly large stash of rare electronics in Colorado mountain towns. Does that mean there's a PS5 there?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get it shipped to us, please?
John, the Blind Steer, is also saying there are other factors. Fans only live so long, so if a fan is trying hard for a long time, is likely not to live as long. That is an interesting point. Another thing that, like, the problem with all of this is we're not going to know. It's not something that we can, like, know the end result of for a while.
Yeah.
Because we won't know if it's a problem until something breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah, we won't really know it's a problem until it's a problem.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to some box office news, because I'm really excited to talk about this. Y'all, this was a historic week at the box office, because Nia Dacosta came out with her new film Candyman. And let's jump over, if you're watching this, if you're listening to the podcast feed, sorry you don't get to see this cool graphic that I make each week, but if you're watching live, let's look at this graphic. Nia Dacosta's movie Candyman came in at $22 million and won the weekend. We're going to talk about why that's historic in just a moment once we get through the top 5 here. Free Guy only fell 26.7% to $13.5 million this weekend. Paw Patrol, the movie, dropped 49% to $6.6 million. Jungle Cruise, dropping from 3rd to 4th here, but only dropped 20%. Still over $5 million in its 5th week in release. Disney has to be really happy with how Jungle Cruise is performing, considering it crossed $100 million domestic this weekend. Don't Breathe 2 rounds out our top 5, dropping 43% to $2.8 million. That movie's closing in on $25 million domestic. And before we move on to the news about Candyman, I just want you guys to take a look at that international total at the bottom of the graphic. For those of you listening on the podcast feed, Jungle Cruise is sitting at $187 million after 5 weeks in release. And Free Guy, after only 3 weeks in domestic release, is sitting at 179.6. I want to talk about that because it's really interesting. Free Guy was given a release in China and managed to come in with a whopping $23.9 million, which doesn't sound like a crazy amount until you realize the only other Hollywood movie to open in the last 4 months in China was Luca, which opened to only $5 million. So it's almost 5 times as much as another Disney movie, Luca, and is pushing Free Guy up closer and closer to that Jungle Cruise number, and I have a feeling that Free Guy's going to overtake Jungle Cruise pretty soon here.
Yeah, especially if it's open in China.
Which is not a competition, because it's a Disney movie crossing over another Disney movie.
Yeah,
And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in both of them. That's not a spoiler for Free Guy, by the way. He's just a voice that you don't even recognize until you watch the credits, and you're like, wait, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was in this?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. I didn't know that. I was like...
Yeah. There are a lot of celebrities who make voiceover cameos in Free Guy that you never know about.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, voiceover. You never hear... Yeah.
Did not realize that.
You have no idea.
I mean, I'm not surprised Free Guy is doing well. It's a fantastic movie.
It. And it's got great reviews in China, which people weren't... You know, with American comedies can be harder in China. You never really know how they're going to perform, whether or not the humor is going to translate. But the reviews on... I think it's... I'm not going to try and pronounce it off the top of my head, because I will get it wrong. But on the 2... online tracking sites, sort of like the IMDb and the like Rotten Tomatoes audience scores, they're both high, much higher than a lot of other American films, and so Free Guy's doing really well there.
That's awesome.
But the big news of the weekend is Candyman coming in number 1 domestically. This is huge because this is the first time in history that the American box office has been led by a film directed by a black woman. When I first heard that, I was like, there's no way. Because I was sure that Wrinkle in Time won. And so this is not the biggest opening weekend by a black woman, as a director. That still goes to A Wrinkle in Time, directed by Ava DuVernay.
Mm-hmm.
But the opening weekend of
Wrinkle in
of A Wrinkle in Time was, I think, the third weekend of Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And so Black Panther pulled in 41 million, came a little bit ahead of A Wrinkle in Time's 33 million, robbing Ava DuVernay of that crown. And so it goes this weekend instead to Nia DaCosta. And I just want to point that out. Candyman's getting really good reviews. I want to find a time to go see it, but I have no idea when that's going to be.
Yeah, you and Mello should go.
Yeah, Candyman coming in with $22.3 million. I think that a lot of people would say, well, that's lower than the Suicide Squad's opening. That's lower than Free Guy's opening. Why do you think that's a huge success? Mostly just budget. Candyman's budget is significantly smaller than both of those movies.
Yeah.
It is a very, very hard arc horror with...
It's way more niche.
Yeah, and with a social message that I think is... that makes it a very particular kind of genre content.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the fact that a movie like that opens to $22.3 million, especially with the Delta surging, with some places going back to some restrictions that they didn't previously have, I think that this should be considered a huge win for Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think it's just exciting to see Universal have a movie do well, and also to see, this revival of a 90s horror classic come back to the market with such strong force.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not my cup of tea for sure, but the trailer was really well done,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's definitely a part of it. It's looked really interesting, but it didn't give too much away, and the
marketing was really good.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it does next week.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting how it's going to play against Shang-Chi next weekend.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out, the Suicide Squad is in number 7 this weekend. Pulled in another $2 million. However, it did cross the $50 million domestic mark in the past week and is almost at $150 million worldwide. It's sitting at $144.8 million right now. Suicide Squad also became the most watched DC movie on HBO Max this weekend, passing the up until now tally of Wonder Woman 1984. Now that it has been out for a bit, the Suicide Squad, I think, still sits a little bit behind Mortal Kombat on the platform as far as the numbers that we can make out are. It's hard sometimes with the streaming services to figure out what the numbers actually are.
So a lot more people are watching it than what the box office numbers lead to believe.
People are watching this movie, they're just watching it at home.
Yeah.
And, I think that comes to an interesting question about the box office right now, and I think it's a question that we're going to see maybe an answer to in the next week, which is what happens when a big superhero property opens in theaters only, and there's no streaming option. Because Shang-Chi is going to come out this weekend, and you cannot watch it at home. There is no Disney Plus Premier Access, right? Mm-hmm. The only place that you can see Shang-Chi is in a theater. And I think that we're going to be having a conversation next Monday about whether or not that was a success for Disney or not.
Yeah, it for me, I'm really excited about this. I think we both want movie theaters to stick around really bad. But like you said, there are some places that are going back down into lockdown or having restrictions and stuff. And so for those people, the fact that they can't watch it does kind of suck. It is very unfortunate, and I do feel bad, but I think for movie theaters to survive, they can't keep releasing stuff. I mean, Suicide Squad, how many of those people do you think would have gone to see it in a theater potentially?
I don't know.
It's and we'll never really know, I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless they do some mass survey.
But you have to wonder if the opening weekend had been, say, $4 million higher. If it had crossed $30 million, would the word of mouth not been, hey, it's a flop? And would it have done better long term too? Yeah. Right? Because the word of mouth on the Suicide Squad was, oh yeah, it's a flop. People didn't like it. People didn't go see it. And I don't think that's true. I think people who went and saw it were divided on it for sure, because James Gunn makes... It's a James Gunn movie.
Movies.
It's a movie that is 100% my aesthetic and won't be for everyone else. And I totally get that. But, if that opening weekend had just been a little bit higher, maybe crossed 30 million, maybe got closer to 35 million, I think that the narrative around it would have been different, and more people would have seen it long term, as opposed to now, where I think that people are going to find it in a few years and be like, oh yeah, this is really for me and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Rockmage is saying that their mother went to a movie theater and their mother said we were the only people in the place. I don't know if that's crazy, Rockmage. We've gone to the theaters multiple times. We're both vaccinated. A lot of people around us are.
Well, in Ontario is at like 75%,
Yeah.
vaccinated.
And so I don't know. I think it just depends on your individual situation, right?
Yeah, it depends on where you are. Like we've taken in all the factors about being in Canada and Ontario. Whereas, if we were living in certain places in the States, I would be more hesitant for sure.
Yeah.
Because this kind of thing is now our job, we also have to take that into account.
Yep. Seeing things is sort of what we do.
Yeah. But I think it depends on what the situation is where you live.
There's also still there are a lot of restrictions here. So we're not sitting next to people that we don't know, right? Like we have space around us.
Yeah,
which
theaters are at like 35% capacity or something like that. Like when you pick your seat, like the entire space around you gets blocked off. Yeah. And when we went to go book our tickets for Shang-Chi, actually, I was like, oh my god, we might have left it too late because a bunch of the theaters are full, but because of reduced capacity. So you have like 2 people sitting here and then like nobody around for like 10 seats.
Yeah.
And so it really depends on how things are running. If I was in Florida and a movie theater was packed, I probably wouldn't go in.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. You know what? I think that everyone has to make a decision for themselves on it. But if you're in a position where you feel comfortable, I think that if you're vaccinated, people around you are vaccinated, or if you're in a place like New York where everyone in the theater is going to be vaccinated because you have to show proof of vaccination to get in.
Yeah.
I think that there's nothing wrong with going to the theaters, right? Yeah. But I also think that if you are in a personal spot where you are in a COVID hotspot, where where there is a big outbreak nearby, I 100% understand being like, you know what, maybe the movies isn't the most important thing.
Yeah.
It is going to be curious to see how that affects Shang-Chi, though, this weekend.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm sad that more people won't be in the theater when I see Shang-Chi. Well, not because I like want them around me right now, but because I'm excited for the experience of seeing this movie. I've been waiting for this movie ever since they announced it. And I want to like cheer and scream and like high five the people around me. And, I've had that experience before in the movies on opening night. And the fact that this Thursday opening night, I'm going to cheer and scream and do all those things. And I'm going to turn to my left and right and in front of me and behind me. And there isn't going to be anyone there in those seats. Right. I'm going to have to look down. Well, other than you. But, like, you know what I mean, though. Like, there's still going to be a sort of a black void around us for the big new Marvel movie. And that is sad to me. And it's, it's necessary. And I get it. But at the same time, I wish... I want that crowd experience again, and I really miss it.
Yeah. No. I believe if I have like my facts straight that vaccines are going to be required for indoor stuff like that in Ontario soon.
Really?
Remember I talked about restaurants. Oof. We talked about restaurants. Talked about gyms.
Don't tell my restaurant.
Theaters. Well, yeah, they are going to like require.
Yeah.
And so. At that point, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, if everyone around me is vaccinated, I don't mind it if the theater is more full, and, because, that, like, movie-going experience of, like, seeing something with around you, they're strangers, but you're all there for the same reason and the love of the same thing, and that's not really an experience that you can get at home.
Yeah, before we move off of the box office, I just want to give one final congratulations, and that goes... you know what? Let's give one more to Nia Dacosta. Way to go. But also, I want to give a huge congratulations to the cast, crew, and production team behind Fast 9. You did it. Actually, I think it's called F9. F9, the Fast Saga. Sorry. Your movie crossed 700 million worldwide, and you're the only film produced in North America to cross 700 million in either the year 2020 or 2021. So a huge congratulations to them for being the first film since the pandemic started, since the beginning of 2020 to cross 700 million worldwide. It's a huge accomplishment. I really enjoyed the movie, and I'm happy to see that it kind of came out in the right window of openings, because obviously now things have closed in a lot of places, and even China has 20% reduced capacity on their theaters. So 700 million worldwide is a huge milestone, especially right now, and Fast 9 has to be looking at that number and being really, really happy they weren't on a streaming service. Um,
Yeah.
let's move on to something else. Folks, big news this week for fans of the TV show Manifest. Manifest kind of became a cult hit in the last couple of years after it made its way onto Netflix. And Netflix is truly the savior today, as they've announced in the last week that Manifest will return after being canceled. For a fourth and final season, Manifest will get 20 episodes to finish off their
20?
storyline. Yeah, it's a network television show. Their seasons were
Sure,
the
okay.
full.
I was like, that's a long season.
But they will get a fourth and final season so that they can finish off that storyline. And a lot of this has come about because of the fan reaction to the show being canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And the...
Now, if only it had worked for Firefly.
Well, Twitter wasn't a thing when Firefly was canceled.
I know.
And really Save Manifest, the hashtag Save Manifest really blew up. The cast all got involved because they like money. And so of course they'll come back and do the show that made them famous and gave them, not made them famous, a lot of them were famous before, but.
I think there's also, like, you know, just to give a little bit of credit there, as an actor, like, I feel like if you don't have the opportunity to bring your character full arc, it is very unsatisfying.
Oh, I'm totally being facetious.
I know.
I totally understand. But, and not even just bring your character to an arc. I think there's also an element of,
like, closure.
Well, and I think that when you are acting in a piece like that, and, like, I don't know, I've never been on a television show that size, but if I were to have millions of fans of something, I would feel a sense of duty to them, right?
Yeah.
I would be like, no, we have to tell the end of this story because there are millions of people who love it. And I think that there's an element of, you know, come on, don't leave it on a cliffhanger. I'm going to be asked about this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Please let there be a finish so that I don't have to tell what I think the end of Manifest would be forever, right?
Yeah.
There's so many reasons for them to get on board, and I make a joke about money, but I totally think that, you know, everyone here has the best intentions.
I know.
And it's just nice to see a show like this that has such a loyal following push to get their final season, and the cast is coming back. The majority of the main cast is going to be on the show. And so it's an exciting thing for them. And I recently started watching Manifest. I am like 5 episodes in, and I kind of dig it. It's a little bit dumb, and the writing is not always like amazing, but it is it's really fun, and I like the characters a lot. And so even when the plot's a little bit like, all right, the characters are dragging me through it, in like I don't want to leave them, and so yeah, I'm into it. I'm having fun. So I have no idea. I just hope that I just hope the final season lands the plane.
Yeah,
well.
If they screw up, people are gonna be upset.
Well, the important thing is the original creator is back to showrun the final season. So it's not going to be like a Community situation where it's moving to a streaming service and they have fired Dan Harmon. The original creator is going to be shepherding this vision all the way to its conclusion. So all right, well, that's that story, because we have an absolutely massive raid. What is up, Raiders?
Holly Wolf, welcome on in.
Holly Wolf, how you doing? It's so good to see you.
Hi, welcome to the Nightly Morning Show.
That's this.
You
know what? We're going to end the recording of the Nightly Morning Show. We'll put an ad break in the middle on the podcast. We'll come back to that.
So we can say hi to people?
Yeah.
Sure.
So if you're listening to the podcast, we'll be back after this ad message. And we're back. Thank you to Holly Wolf for that incredible raid and for sharing your community with us, and have fun on your adventures. But it is time now. It's like the middle of the show. We need to get this show back on the rails. You know what that means, Clarus?
No.
We're going to talk about Ghosted, a new movie starring Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans is coming to the big screen soon. This is going to be an action-adventure romance. This is news because it's Black Widow. And it's Captain America back together on screen. Something I learned about this. This is mostly because of the MCU, but this is going to be the 10th movie that Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans star in together.
Oh, because of MCU stuff. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, but also before the MCU,
Mm-hmm.
there was The Nanny Diaries,
Oh.
and another movie I had pulled up, but I'll have to pull it up. This is the first time they are playing romantically linked characters, though, since The Nanny Diaries.
Gotcha, okay.
Which is fun. Do I have it here? Yeah, they were in The Perfect Score, The Nanny Diaries, The Avengers, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Captain Marvel, and Avengers Endgame.
Gotcha.
They were
Cool.
also in talks to star in Greg Berlanti's upcoming remake of Little Shop of Horrors together. No word on whether or not that is still happening, but Ghosted is getting the go-ahead. It's said to be a romantic action-adventure movie in the same vein as the Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner classic, Romancing the Stone. You excited to see these two back on screen together?
Yeah, I've never seen the other movies that they've been in together other than, like, the
You've never seen
Marvel
The Nanny
movies.
Diaries?
No, I don't know what that
Interesting.
is. Yeah, I don't know that one at all.
Fun.
But I think they're both, like, incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Like, seeing Chris Evans in... was it Knives Out?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was so good.
Fantastic Knives Out.
Like, yeah, they're both so talented and incredible, and they have such a history of working together that I think for on screen, I think that they're going to play off each other really well. I think that's a solid casting choice.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see them back together. I think that this definitely shows that Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit against Disney probably not going to affect her all that much.
I'm
She's
sure
gonna
it
work.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm excited this. This is coming from Apple and Skydance, so this might be an Apple TV Plus exclusive.
Okay.
Which
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's going to be some streaming stuff in the future where we don't get the movies that we want to see on the big screen anymore, and I need to get over it because there's nothing I can do about it. It's the way of the world now.
As long as movie theaters survive, that's all we care about.
Yeah, as long as the movie theaters survive. But yeah, Ghosted, I'm excited. I think they'll be fun together. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Clarus to make up the news. Because we only have 2 stories after this. So for now, make up some news, Clarus.
Yay me. Oh boy.
Y'all, let's not talk spoilers in the chat, if we don't mind.
Yes. No spoilers for Free Guy, please. Yeah, that movie's still too new.
Yep.
Oh boy. Cool. There's some news, and I promise it's real. It's not fake at all. These are real words in English. For the most part. Sometimes I make up words. Is that supposed to be nos or nose?
I don't know. We're all just kind of waiting for you to make up the news.
Well. So. I hate the look of judgment on your face.
Love you.
I love you too. I'm a master theater improver. Okay. Well, the internals of the PS5.
Oh.
That new heatsink is not the only thing that's different.
Oh, really? What else has
about it.
changed?
On top of the screw being changed and the heatsink being changed and the fan being changed, there is actually a now like a added component on optional for the PS5.
An optional component?
Yeah, doesn't come with it, but we have discovered that there is a spot.
Okay.
It's not a surprise phalange, unfortunately. The PS5 does not have fingers. However, it does come with an electric beer cozy that you can plug into your PS5. Yeah.
What's the purpose of an electric beer cozy?
Well, so I'm really glad you asked.
Me too.
The beer cozy actually, kind of, what's the word? It, you know when your controller, like, vibrates and stuff? Yeah, your beer cozy does that. Just to, like, keep frothy and, keep it cold. It keeps it cold. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wait, so it froths the beer?
Yeah. Yeah, you know when you have a can of beer and you don't get the foam on top that you would at the bar? They have figured out a way to do that with a can. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
The saddest thing about this is that you don't realize the whole goal is to not have much foam at the top. Like, no one is pouring beer and being like, God, I really can't wait for the foam at the top. You want a little bit of foam? The goal is not to shake up your beer.
I don't know. You haven't tried this beer cozy, so I'm just saying you can't knock it till you try it.
All you're gonna do is make your beer go flat faster. Why would you want that?
Well, it's to encourage drinking at home.
Sony introduced a new addition to the PS5 that encourages sad gamers to drink by themselves.
Well, you were gonna have the beer anyways. This way you'll finish it quicker. It's fine. No, it's only beer, Rebel. Nothing else fits. Nothing else fits.
But why does it plug into the PS5?
Because it keeps it cold.
But how long is it?
How long is it?
No one sets up their PS5 next to them and plays sitting next to their system.
No, there's different cable lengths, obviously. You know, the basic, 3 feet is, cheaper, but you can get 9 and 12 feet cables as well. There is also a Bluetooth version, but that's still a prototype, so you're not going to see that on the market for a while. Mm-hmm.
This is the dumbest thing.
No, it's great. And then the extra, cool, coldness is, vented back into your PS5 to keep it cold. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nave, thank you so much for the follow.
It's vented back from where?
Through the cable? Like I said, it's a brand new prototype.
How big is this cable?
It's about that. You know, it's girthy.
This is the worst thing anyone's ever come up with.
No, it's great.
Do you want a device that makes your beer go flat? That involves you having to have an industrial width cable running through your living room from your PS5 to somewhere near you?
It is aesthetically pleasing. They put RGB on it, of course.
It also is supposed to cool your beer down, but it has lights on it, so it's gonna be hot.
No, these are cold lights.
You have no idea how beer works. At all, do you?
No, I hate beer. I would rather drink anything other than beer. Literally anything in the whole world. But somehow the cozy only fits beer. It's like the One Ring, where it'll change sizes. So if you try to put anything else in there, it just won't accept it.
You are doubling down on this so hard, and it's so funny.
You're welcome. Well, Nate really likes it.
Yeah, it froths your beer so you can get that foam on top.
Yeah, y'all are weird and love carbonation, so I don't get it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Do you know how
that's
hard...
the real news.
Lights. Do you know how hard... Do you know how hard the RG beer? How hard bartenders work to get good at pouring beer so that there isn't much foam?
I thought you wanted a little bit because it's nice.
You want a little bit.
Yeah, I thought the head was part of the...
It is on some beers.
I thought on
different
a Guinness,
beers want different head. Not really. A little bit, but not much.
Not a beer drinker.
A little one, yeah. But you don't want to. But it's not.
You don't get that from the can now, do you?
Well, you don't need it. Because the carbonations, never mind. It doesn't matter.
Sony begs to differ.
The appropriate amount of head is key. Exactly. What I don't want is a device that's just shaking my beer next to me.
It's for that, like, 4D experience of video gaming, you know?
Oh my god. Oh, yeah, so Fabian says a great question. Soda cans are the same width as beer cans. How can it tell the difference?
It has a sensor for, what's the word? There's a word out there, it's not coming to mind. And it's not fermentation, but it's something else along those lines that beer has. So
not only does this thing shake your beer, you have to put a piece of it inside the beer?
No, it can sense through aluminum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. High tech. Like, Sony's really, like, stepping up their game.
Alright, well that was a wild ride.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
You're welcome. I did not know where that was going to go, but I'm glad we went there together.
Ladies and gentlemen, two final stories today, both in the world of gaming. I want to... Here's the thing. I don't know how to cover this. I am not going to lie. I don't know how to cover this.
Hops. Thank you.
Hops.
Thank you, John.
I don't know how to talk about this, because there's so much news. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly run through IGN's article, Gamescom announcements, schedule, and how to watch. We're gonna they just posted all the announcements, so we're just gonna go through all the announcements and say whether or not we care about them. It's gonna be quick because there's Gamescom announced too many things, and I was busy and we didn't cover it. So let's do this.
Sorry, it was my birthday.
Halo Infinite gets released December 8th, 2021. What do you think?
Do you think it's gonna come out, or do you think it's gonna get pushed back?
I think that if it gets pushed back, many people will lose their jobs, so it will come out unfinished, and it's gonna be messy.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna come out unfinished.
When they announced that Forge and the co-op campaign are not coming out on day one, I went, So I'll play Halo Infinite. Here's the thing. I'm gonna be really honest. There's two things here. This Halo Infinite will probably be the highest selling Halo game ever.
Sure.
In its opening frame, because this will be the first Halo game to release simultaneously on PC and on consoles.
Yep.
Unless the number of people who want to play Halo is really just for the online and they don't give a crap about the campaign, because I have a feeling that I think they might have announced, but I'm not sure. I have a feeling, and it might already have been announced, that the multiplayer is going to be free to play. Or at least free to play with Games Pass, and you'll have to buy the game to play the campaign.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling what they'll do is they'll get it out on the date because they have to, and then for Christmas there will be a huge, not like re-release, but like update and new features and stuff.
It won't be for Christmas. It'll be next year.
You don't think so? I think they'll try to do something for Christmas.
No, the game will barely be updated. They'll be doing by Christmas.
No, it's gonna be like Cyberpunk, where like in a few days they had to put out an update because it just was so bad.
No, but that was just to fix things, not to add things. They're gonna spend December putting out patches to fix things. They won't be adding any features in December.
Yeah, that sucks. Like Christmas would be the best time for your online co-op.
No, online co-op will work.
Online co-op.
Campaign co-op won't be day one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the online, so like player versus player stuff will be live.
Okay.
You won't be able to do 2-player campaign missions, which is a staple of the Halo franchise.
Gotcha. My bad.
The campaign will be single player only at launch, and then they're going to add the co-op campaign mode and Forge into Season 2, because now Halo is going to have seasons like every other video game, because apparently that's the only way we make video games anymore. That's first news. Second news, Elden Ring. George R. R. Martin's written by Miyazaki and George R.
What?
George R. R. Martin is not writing the in-game text anymore for Elden Ring. It is going to be written by Miyazaki. That's fascinating.
Literally, George R. R. Martin's like, I don't have time for anything anymore.
Elden Ring, we got our first 15 minutes of gameplay. Did you watch it?
No.
You should watch it and put that on your channel.
I should, because I really think that game looks freaking cool.
I don't think we have a date for that yet. But we also got the announcement. We're going quickly through this, y'all.
Elden Ring looks like a game I will probably play on day one, so.
Marvel's Midnight Suns, the new Marvel XCOM game officially announced, looks incredible. Very excited for this. I love XCOM. Really loved Mario Rabbids and what they did with the XCOM style. And so I'm excited to see what Marvel Midnight Suns is going to bring to that style of gameplay. We're going to buy this day one, so you can play it if you want.
All right.
Saints Row is being rebooted and won't be fun anymore.
Wow.
No, okay, so Saints Row is a video game series that has often had a ridiculous, over-the-top tone.
Yep.
For the reboot, they're going slightly more serious based on all the marketing so far. And so when I say it won't be fun anymore, I mean it won't be fun in, like, the silly, zany way that it always has been. It looks like it's becoming more of a, like, traditional game.
Gotcha.
Which is weird, because it's just not what the franchise is.
Yeah. Like, why this, like, spin now? Why wouldn't you just make a new game?
Why not just be ridiculous? It's fun. Yeah. That's what we love you for.
I mean, look at how much money Fast 9 made.
Yeah, truly. That should be a spinoff. Dom Toretto should be the new lead of Saints Row. That would be hilarious.
Oh, God.
Hardcore Soft Popcorn says they won't buy Saints Row unless Taika Waititi or James Gunn are directing it somehow. James Gunn should direct a Saints Row movie. That would be amazing. Horizon Forbidden West is coming in 2022. It will be released February 18th because there aren't enough games coming in the last week of January and the first 2 weeks of February.
I mean, hey, they needed to do some cleanup from that first, like, gameplay trailer we watched, so.
I know, but, like, this is, like, 3 weeks after Breath of the Wild 2. I don't have time.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get playing something other than Pokemon.
Yeah. The PlayStation 5 and PC exclusive Deathloop is set to arrive on September 14th. Here's the... look, other people might have known this already. I didn't. I thought this movie, this game was PS5 only.
Yeah.
It's on the PC.
Huh.
I'm so excited now.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Alright. You gonna play that on the 14th?
Hell yeah.
Alright,
Unless
cool.
I'm working, I'll play it on, like, another day. But I will play it. Are you excited for Deathloop? We've seen some of those trailers.
Yeah, it looks fun. It's not the kind of game where I'm like, I must play this moment it drops, but it looks fun. I'll probably try it.
Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga gets a new gameplay trailer. Haven't watched it yet, but it is going to be released in spring 2022, so we do finally have a release window for a game that I thought was going to come out when Rise of Skywalker came out, and will now come out years later.
Literally.
But all the Lego Star Wars movies or all the Lego Star Wars games are great.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for the Lego Star Wars Halloween special coming at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other big announcements? We got another trailer. If you want to see a really cool trailer for Metroid Dread, go check out the official trailer 2 for Metroid Dread that dropped. Mm-hmm. That game looks amazing. I cannot wait to play it on the Switch. Mm-hmm. The cinematic trailer for Giants Uprising, very worth watching. Very cool. We didn't do a trailer reaction to it, but honestly... very excited for that. It comes to Steam in November, on November 2nd, so that one's just around the corner. Dying Light 2 is also coming around the corner. That got a new gameplay trailer. Oh my god, there's so many announcements. Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming to Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One in holiday 2021. Mm-hmm. So if you want to play, but you don't want to download the game, so if you want to play with, like, latency, you can do that, I guess.
Go for it.
April O'Neil, everybody's favorite best friend to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, will be a playable combatant in the upcoming retro-style Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I think that her weapon is her microphone. It's dope. Very excited.
Okay, fair enough.
I want a stand-up cabinet with this game. I want to play this old cabinet style like you did at the arcade.
Yeah.
Because that's how you do it.
That's the best way to do it.
Amazon's New World Open Beta is announced. Post-launch plans teased. This is interesting because there's nothing in here about whether or not New World is still destroying your graphics card.
Great. They're just like, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll download that game a few patches down the road when I don't think it will brick my whole computer.
Truly.
I think that's all the big stuff. There's so much stuff. Honestly, I'm just, like, scrolling through here. There's a Small Soldiers-inspired shooter called Hypercharge. Small Soldiers, great movie. Messed me up as a kid. It did. I'm not joking.
I remember you talking about that.
The Waylanders, a Celtic myth-inspired RPG, which sounds like your kind of shiznit, is coming November 16th.
That's so soon.
Yeah.
What?
It was released in Steam Early Access last year, and the full game promises a 40-hour adventure.
Waylanders. Okay, cool. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah. The creators of Lara Croft's new game, called Dream Cycle, is going to feature 10,000 different levels.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion thing that I quit playing because I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, I'm not here for it.
And that's all the big announcements.
Great.
Sorry, that was not the most in-depth look at Gamescom.
There's so much, we would have to do a completely separate show on it.
There are so many good creators who are much better at this than we are. What am I saying? We're the best. Subscribe here. That was everything you needed to know.
Yeah.
Yelled at you quickly by a man holding an iPad.
It's exactly what I needed on a Monday morning.
Before we get into our final story, actually, no, before we end the show, let's get into our final story, which I can't find. There it is. Wednesday, September 1st, is going to be a day off Twitch for us and for many creators who wanted to start, who started a conversation. This started with the streamer and now big on Twitter now because of this. Wreck-It Raven, the streamer who started the Twitch Do Better hashtag, which has grown into the A Day Off Twitch movement, a movement by streamers and by viewers to not be on Twitch on September 1st, to send a message to Twitch that it is time for them to step up and at least do the bare minimum. We've talked about this. We talked about this last week. We've talked about this before. And put in place more roadblocks to stop bots, hate raids, and the kinds of harassment that LGBTQ plus creators of color, and particularly LGBTQ plus creators of color have been facing.
Yeah.
There is a concerted effort by bad actors on this platform to make it an inhospitable environment for people who are not white men like me. And, I stand fully with them. I know that there have been some very large creators who have come out against it, who have problems with it. And I to those people, Asmongold, I would like to say you have a team of mods that you pay to handle your chat, and things like this can't happen to you because you have a system of support, because your community is large enough. And there are a lot of creators who don't have that.
Yeah, your privilege must be real nice.
Yeah, it is great to be a white man who doesn't have to deal with this and to say that it's not going to work and that people should just take it. And
yeah.
I have been very disappointed by some of the bigger streamers' comments on this on Twitch. It is very clear that there are some people who are only about money and about the making money process of this and don't realize that there is a lot more to Twitch for a lot of people than just how much money comes into our bank account in the middle of the month.
Yep.
And I just I'm disappointed that more larger streamers haven't gotten on board. However, I am heartened by the smaller streamers who have banded together, have gotten their voices heard.
Yeah.
Wreck-It Raven, the streamer, has met with Twitch, which goes to show that doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yep.
And so I'm so thankful that you decided to post about how there's no point in doing anything. That is changing things for the better. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we have, we've talked about this a few times. We both will not be logging into Twitch or streaming on Wednesday, which, we normally do. And we feel that this movement is important and it's worth something. And to those of you who don't, must be nice to just not have to worry about anything and I guess keep making your money. But we know that Twitch is about the community, first and foremost.
100%.
More than even the video games. It's about the community. And the good people here have proven that to us time and time and time again. And so, this movement has our full support. And hopefully Twitch decides that enough is enough and that they listen and they decide to do something about it, anything, or even comment on it, make a statement, say that this is what we're working on or something. But Twitch has been radio silent from what I've seen, and it's really disappointing. Yeah, it's really disappointing.
In addition to that, we are no longer going to have sub goals. We have just decided that there isn't really a reason to incentivize our community to give money to Amazon, or to Twitch. there isn't really a reason to do that. There are so many ways to support us, and so all of our goals from now on are going to be either off Twitch on platforms like Patreon, that have a better split with us and that do more to support their creators, or
they
things
will
like that.
Like donation based,
Yeah.
because Twitch, if Twitch can't protect the people that it's taking money from, then we are not down to support that.
Yeah.
So if you do, if you are in agreement and you don't think that Twitch deserves 50% of your sub, you can sub to the Nerdy Nightly Patreon if you like. There is a $5 tier.
There's a $1 tier.
There is a $1 tier, $1 a month, and we just we are here on Twitch because of the community, and we love the community, and like you guys are the reason that keep us here. But Twitch as a platform is shooting themselves in the foot, and it's gonna be interesting to see how things play out.
To go at hardcore soft popcorns there, we're probably gonna do biddy goals, because the cut on biddies is more is less beneficial towards Twitch. It's not a 50-50 cut on biddies where it is on subs.
Yeah.
So
goals will be donations and biddies.
Yeah. We're going to disincentivize subs as much as possible. Because I think that the 50-50 split on subs is just insane. Yeah,
if you want to subscribe yourself for the emotes or whatever it is, I completely understand. There's a lot of channels I'm still going to subscribe to.
Yeah.
But any other what's the word I'm looking for? But anything else I do for the channel, any other support that I show is going to be donations or off Twitch.
Yeah.
As opposed to gifting subscribers.
Yeah.
Just because I think that streamers work hard and they deserve better than a 50-50 split.
100%. Yeah, especially since it is by far the lowest in the industry.
Yeah.
We just wanted to call that out, and we wanted to talk about that today because we support the movement. We support Wreck-It Raven. I spoke with her yesterday through some Twitter DMs. She is incredibly lovely. And has been handling all of this really, really well. Thank you for those biddies, Hardcore Soft Popcorn.
Thank you, Popcorn.
I think that Wreck-It Raven has been the right person for the right moment in this. And I'm really inspired by everything that she's done. And I hope, as I said to her when I DM'd her, they have my support both of our support wholeheartedly. And if there's anything they need, we're there for them. Because this is important, honestly. This is not a platform that is for me. It shouldn't be just for people who look like me. It should be for anyone who wants to use it. And I have seen so many people on Twitter who do not have a job in this, who have been building things to take care of these problems better than Twitch has in their free time. I find that to be infuriating. Yeah. And this is a tough situation because we love Twitch and this is our job and, this is how we pay our bills. And so, it is a complicated situation. And a day off Twitch, one day off is barely anything. But it is clear that Twitch is listening, and this is only going to be the first step in making sure that Twitch is for everyone and not just for, white people with penises. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's everything. So, if you want to look up more information, you can just look up the hashtag A Day Off Twitch. Absolutely. And you can, hi Scary. You can read about what's going on, and we encourage you guys to support this in any way that you can.
Yeah. Also, just so you know, if you can, go throw some support towards creators of color and LGBT creators. If you not on Wednesday, don't log in on Wednesday unless you have to for some reason. We're not going to judge. But if you are around and you're looking for someone to watch, click around for those creators. They're going to have a harder time growing right now because a lot of them have turned off their raids. So that is a huge part of how you grow on this platform, is sharing community. And so if you are looking for someone to watch and you need to find someone new, look around for creators of color and LGBT creators who might be sheltering their communities a little bit and would love to see. I know anyone from our community, because we talk like this all the time, if you're in our community, you know that hatred has no place here. Yep. And so if you are from our community, go spread that love around Twitch, because there's some people on the platform who probably need it right now. Absolutely. And who absolutely deserve it. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And with that being said, y'all, that's going to be the end of the nightly morning show. Thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you to Holly Wolf for that incredible raid, dropping in the middle there. I feel like all of our coolest raids come in during the morning show.
I know,
We've had
right?
a Joni raid, Joni Brosauce raided us, Daniel Sloss raided us, and now Holly Wolf.
I know.
Three critters who I just admire and love so much. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you all for coming, watching, listening. For everyone who watches on YouTube, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe to the channel. Hit the dislike button if you dislike us. Leave me comments down below. We can take it. Our skin is thick, and also the algorithm god is hungry. We must feed her. As always, you can follow us over on Twitch if you're not there right now. I'm over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly.
I'm over at twitch.tv/ClarishDakaris.
Any last things you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, I don't think we have anything special coming up. I am going to be scheduling a Dead by Daylight killer stream.
Oh, fun.
Show, because we hit that goal, so.
I'm going to be scheduling my Shazam stream soon.
Oh,
once
boy.
I know when the Shazam cosplay is getting here.
Yeah.
But until then, do something nerdy tonight.
Bye, guys.
Bye.